With the wrestling mainstream consolidated under a single company, only one man dared to challenge the status quo.
I had the balls to step out at a time that I was young. Some people called me stupid, naive, idiot.
I've always called Jeff a carny with a heart of gold.
Jeff Jarrett can sell you the glasses off your own face.
Jeff Jarrett was the only person who could have pulled off doing a company in opposition to Vince McMahon.
They said, don't do it, don't do it. And I didn't listen to any of them.
Let's get it on right now!
It's time for Total Nonstop Action!
Jeff Jarrett's promotion disrupted the wrestling landscape and rewrote the rulebook.
I wanted to create a brand of wrestling that was different.
Jeff built this new revolution in sports entertainment, in professional wrestling, and it's pissing off Vince, but there's nothing he can do about it.
We all had something to prove.
The story of TNA is so important in the history of pro wrestling. TNA was the underdog, it was the beacon of hope.
And then the whole thing went to shit.
As the foundation began to crack, a bitter power struggle erupted behind the scenes.
Dixie Carter, she divided and she conquered.
You want to bring in Hulk Hogan? Do I think it's going to work? Hell no.
At the end of the day, there needs to be somebody who has control or power.
Jeff had all the backstabbers backstabbing the backstabbers. It just got crazy. It was just one big, shit show.
Jeff wasn't screwing Kurt's wife. Jeff didn't take Kurt's wife. It was a storyline.
I expect you to support me 100%.
It was embarrassing for everybody involved.
It's a hot mess. How do we survive this?
Wrestling is or be.
I never gave a second thought that a big power play was coming.
Through triumph and turmoil, the company's journey mirrored that of its founder.
I felt sorry for him. He was so broken.
My drinking went from bad to worse. It was drink and get drunk and then blackout drunk. I was out of my mind, and I wouldn't go to the hospital.
He was killing himself.
It was clear that this was a different Jeff Jarrett than I had known and worked with for years.
Through it all, one inescapable truth emerged.
The story of TNA is the story of Jeff Jarrett because TNA is Jeff Jarrett.
It's a story of perseverance. There's tons of lessons you can learn from Jeff Jarrett.
Whether you are a success or whether you are a failure, it all starts with the person on top.
I get emotional thinking about some of the things that I've survived, but I think you can roll over and play dead and die a slow death, or you can get up and fight like hell. Trying to think how to start this. The TNA story, I have a completely different set of lenses on it today than I did back in 2002. At the end of the day, when I kind of look back on my career, there's no way to succeed in life if you don't have not one failure, but many.
The story of TNA is the story of 1,000 what-ifs.
I look back on those early days at the core nucleus and the timing. In a lot of ways, it's a dream that I don't ever want to wake up from.
TNA wrestling from the very beginning was insane. It really had that feeling of, oh my God, anything can happen.
It's a 2-pound bag of sugar.
Always crazy, always over the top, always chaos.
The cages, the girls, it was a spectacle.
I feel dirty, and I feel dirty in a way that no shower will ever make me clean.
If you are a traditional wrestling fan, this show is not for you.
God, there goes the printer! What's he doing? Oh my God!
You had your core of young talent growing up, and you had stars coming in. It was a very exciting time.
Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Hardy,
Booker T, Kevin Nash, and myself.
The big bad booty daddy!
AJ Styles, Samoa Joe.
We get Sting, and now we have arguably the best wrestler in the entire world in his prime, Kurt Angle.
The Olympic gold medalist,
Jeff's story and TNA's story are inextricably linked. He was the driving force.
Do I feel validated? Do I feel right of where I'm at today? That is a deep question. I was given one of the greatest gifts, and that is the gift of desperation. And that gift of desperation has changed my life. I'm Jeff Jarrett. I've been in the professional wrestling industry for 40 years, and I founded TNA Wrestling. One thing's for sure, I'm a lifer in this business.
Whoa! And with a tight style, Jarrett added something to it.
I idolized my father.
Oh my gosh, Jerry Jarrett!
The wrestling world knew Jerry Jarrett as kind of the boy next door, blonde hair, blue eye, good looks, but behind the scenes, he was the boss, the promoter.
We've been working very hard to try to cut corners and cut prices and still maintain the quality talent.
My parents divorced when I was 3 years of age. My mother blamed the wrestling business on splitting up the family. I lived with my mom, so I didn't see a lot of my dad. He was this wrestler that I saw on TV from time to time.
All right, what's a scorpion dime?
Preteen and then into my teenage years. I started spending summers with my dad. His office was right next to my bedroom, and I saw wrestlers come by the house and pick up paychecks, and there was these 3/4-inch tapes that I could watch matches, and I think it gave me a set point on how I viewed the business, that it's all storytelling, it's all theatrics, it's all larger than life. Jerry Jarrett was a unique character, so to speak, and also the son of another legendary figure, his mother, Teenie Jarrett.
Jeff's grandmother was the most successful female promoter in the entire wrestling industry. I'm Jim Cornette. I've been in the wrestling industry for 50 years, and I got my first job from the Jarrett family. Jeff, throughout his entire life, his family, everything that they had came from pro wrestling, and it was treated very seriously by them.
I was a young teenager, and my grandmother called, and she said, the folks that run my concessions up in Kentucky, you're not going to be there, so you're doing concessions, and I'm going to pay you. And then one night, I made over $300, and I said, I like this business. I like it a lot.
This match, one fall, 15-minute time limit. Jeff Jarrett is the referee.
My dad wanted me to get an education in the industry, setting up the ring, marketing, wrestling, refereeing.
Now Landell and Dundee are showing.
My freshman year of college, I was a referee, and Bill Dundee and Nature Boy Buddy Landell came out and beat me up and roughhoused me, and my dad came out. He got involved.
Jerry Jarrett just said, and he nailed Dundee.
Our plan was for me to go back to school in the fall, but I never went back.
Nice move by Jeff Jarrett.
Wrestling has been my whole life. It's something that I hope that my children would go into as Jeff has.
It didn't hurt that Jeff was a great athlete, and he was a great in-ring performer, and he had the psychology, and he could talk.
The definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Right.
And Monday night.
Young, good-looking, sells his ass off.
Jarrett, what a move he put on him, and a good drop kick and basher.
Jeff was a territory star, and when he got his opportunity to go to WWF, I think that was probably a real opportunity to branch out and be something other than Jerry Jarrett's son in Jerry Jarrett's company. My name's Scott D'Amore. I've been in the wrestling business for over 30 years. Double J Jeff Jarrett was a country music superstar.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
You know, probably not the character that you ever look at and go, oh wow, that's our future world champion.
And they had done these vignettes with him to introduce the character, which I thought were brilliant because they were cheesy. But at the end, he goes, it's J-E-double-F, J-A-double-R-E-double-T. That's Double J, Jeff Jarrett, smile, twinkle, sound effect, super cheese. I am David Sahadi, and I've been in the wrestling business for over 30 years. Jeff has great talent, where whenever the cameras are rolling, he could just turn it on and be that character in a heartbeat.
And there, the skills of Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
And then his second character was a pissed off guy.
Don't even look me in the eye, because that's enough to piss me off. Whoa!
At that time, the Attitude Era was red hot. I cut my hair and Don't Piss Me Off, and the guitar really started to come in play. And so with the Attitude Era, Double J had a new attitude.
As his star rises in the WWF, Jeff balances the demands of his career with the responsibilities of a young family.
I had my first wrestling match April 6th of '86. April 8th of '86, 2 days later, Jill and I had our first date. She was a sophomore, a few years younger than me, so we were both just kids. Fell in love, and we were both ready to conquer the world. She was someone that very quietly always supported me behind the scenes in a major way. She never was around the wrestling business. It was kind of from maybe the old school mentality that I went off to work and she stayed home, and that was how she liked it. She had her first round of breast cancer in the late 90s, and so I stayed home to take care of our first daughter. It was just a real tough time. But she got better, and I went back on the road. And I was kind of right in the middle of it with Owen.
That's it, Owen. He's a Canadian hero, Owen is. Owen's from Canada, Jeff Jarrett from right here in Tennessee.
Our life experiences were very similar. Owen Hart was the son of a wrestling promoter, just like myself. We were both at our stage in life that, young wives, new kids, our career. It's hard to describe unless you really are the son of a wrestling promoter. He was my best friend.
They were a great tag team because they'd both been in the business and around the business since they were kids.
Here we go now. Blazer off the rope, delivers an elbow.
And at that point, they'd given Owen the blue blazer gimmick. And he would fly into the ring for this big grand entrance. And that's why he ended up in a ceiling in Kemper Arena.
Authorities in Kansas City are investigating the death of a professional wrestler in a spectacular stunt that went wrong last night. Owen Hart was being lowered by a cable into the ring when he suddenly plunged. The audience had to be told it wasn't part of the show.
There was no wrestling storyline, there was no angle, and my best friend died in a work accident.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you're doing live television, a lot of things can happen, and sometimes they are not good. The blue blazer, as we know, as Owen Hart, was going to make a very spectacular superhero-like entrance from the rafters, and something went terribly wrong here.
All of a sudden, Owen's fallen. Owen's what? Owen fell. Owen's hurt.
He was coming down on a cord, and all of a sudden it snapped, and he dropped, and they were pumping his chest.
Jeff literally had to stand there and watch them wheel Owen out.
First off, Owen Hart, I'm praying for you, buddy.
I've said before, I can't believe it and stopped the show.
I believe Jeff was the next matchup. I don't know how he was able to pull off that match, seeing when it happened, being there.
Owen fell 82 feet to his death, and I was in the ring and walked through the crater that his body left.
I have the unfortunate responsibility to let everyone know that Owen Hart has died.
That had to just tear your heart out.
In this business, I guess you got a lot of acquaintances, but very few friends.
I wondered for many years and never voiced it. Why did Owen have to pass away? He's the good guy amongst all of us. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't cuss hardly. Great husband, great father, great guy. So, survivor's remorse. I think I never wanted to face losing him, but stuffing it and putting on an emotional mask that I'm here to go to work. Never take time to grieve, never take time to be Jeff. In a lot of ways, that was the beginning of breaking me down.
Following the death of his friend Owen Hart, Jeff Jarrett grows frustrated with his role in the WWF.
At the age that I was, I could wrestle all night, every night. And so I was ready to go to work, but I wasn't a part of the Main Event crew.
Jeff didn't have the size, and he didn't have the over-the-top gimmick, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Undertaker or something like that Vince saw as a main event level star. But at the same time, he was the Intercontinental Champion. However, Jeff's contract was coming to an end, and he had another option down south at the competition, WCW. So before he left the company, he was gonna have to drop the Intercontinental title to Chyna.
Chyna, let's finish this thing once and for all.
I was owed about 3 or 4 months worth of money. Walking in the building that night, I knew I was never gonna have any more leverage than before I dropped the belt.
He walked around the building, and he came back. He said, I think I'm gonna need $100,000.
I knew that Vince wanted Chyna to become champion, and he knew he owed me a payoff, and I just made it very clear. You don't have to pay me, and I don't have to wrestle. The ball's in your court. And Vince just nods at me, and I nod back at him, and we shook hands, left.
Well, then Jeff walked around the building again when they came back.
And I said, well, what is there to lose? And so I asked for more money, and considerably more.
Jeff said, you know, I think I'm gonna need 200.
And that was it. Vince pulled the check out of his suit pocket, smiled, handed it to me, and he said, Jeff, I really enjoy doing business with you. I think the tape will show that when Chyna pinned me 1, 2, 3, I don't think there was one person sitting in their seat. And then within 24 hours, I jumped from a WWF pay-per-view to a WCW Nitro.
Joining the WWF's biggest competitor, Jeff enters WCW already showing signs of decline, despite the recent arrival of a former colleague.
I met Jeff Jarrett when I was the head writer of Raw on WWF television. My name is Vince Russo, and I was the head writer, producer, and on-air talent for TNA Wrestling. When I was working at WCW, I put the belt on Jeff because Jeff was a great heel.
Then, in a shock to the wrestling world, Vince McMahon purchases WCW.
That's right, I own WCW.
And for Jeff Jarrett, the fallout is devastating.
Here's the thing. If Vince needed you at some point, he would forgive you. If Vince didn't need you, he didn't need to forgive you.
Well, there's Jeff Jarrett.
He never forgave Jeff, and Vince fired Jeff on the air.
You know how Jeff spells his name? That's J-E-F-F. Well, you know what? I would suspect that we'd spell it a different way after tonight. That would be capital G, double O, double N, double E. God.
That was Vince's way of rubbing it in, because Vince doesn't want to just take you out. He wants to take you out, humiliate you, spit on your face, and walk away while you're down the ground bleeding.
Jeff Jarrett so famously walked out of WWE, and his career, it seemed like he would never return. My name is Matt Hardy. I am one half of the iconic tag team known as the Hardy Boys. Being in the pro wrestling business his whole life, I mean, any human being that's going out and being slammed on wood and steel 10 nights back to back, and then driving 300, 350 miles to the next town, traveling nonstop, that's how he's wired. You know, we're cockroaches. You can't kill us off. You think you've killed us all, but you can't kill us off.
Coming back home from that final Nitro, I knew that I didn't know what was next. But I did have the blessing or the curse to understand that if Vince buys the number 2, that wouldn't be good for him or the industry.
So now, WCW was out of business. All the territories were gone. There's nothing else. There's a lot of wrestlers, don't have anywhere to go.
Everybody knew they were. It was a monopoly, so it wasn't a good thing. I'm Scott Steiner. I've known Jeff Jarrett for 40 years. Unless you're going to do independence or Japan, yeah, there's no other place to work.
If Vince McMahon doesn't fire Jeff Jarrett on that last Nitro, there's no reason for Jeff to sit there and go, oh shit, there's no place for me to work. I better create one.
I started a series of collective conversations with my father about, I want to start a promotion. And I knew that I wanted to tap into that country music audience in Midwest, Southeast, WCW footprint. I wanted to tap into the NASCAR fan base. I had a real understanding that I'm going all in, and the original seed money came straight from Jeff Jarrett's bank account and Jerry Jarrett's bank account.
Together, Jeff and Jerry devise a bold new business model for a wrestling promotion.
The Jarretts came up with this plan where they were going to provide a $9.99 a week pay-per-view. WWE was the only game in town at that point. Their pay-per-views were $40 or $50 a month. I'm the sinister minister, Father James Mitchell, and I was part of TNA Wrestling from the very first show. Jeff was just really savvy, just like his dad was. And he also knew every swerve and bullshit wrestling trick that the guys tried to play on promoters.
Before they can make their promotion a reality, the Jarretts must find an investor willing to back their vision.
Drove down to Birmingham, Alabama to meet with a guy named Richard Scrushy. He was CEO of HealthSouth, a top 5 organization in the world. I knew Richard personally, but I was ready to present to him as a businessman. I had my presentation, and he said, as crazy as it may sound, think we can do something here? And he said, how much you need? I was elated. And once you clear that hurdle, you go, oh, we thought that was the hard part, but the real hard part's coming up.
With the money secured and the concept in place, only one thing remains, a name.
As I'm forming this plan, I said, what's the name of our company? We're coming off the Attitude Era. I also knew that on pay-per-view, we don't have to worry about TV 14. We can definitely push the envelope. I wanted something in the branding of the name to make a difference.
Something showbiz.
Something wrestling.
Something to jumpstart what's going on.
Something with alliance or association.
Something that was an alternative.
Something to differentiate yourself from the competition.
Something that's crazy.
Let me make this clear to everybody watching at home. It came from me. Tits and ass.
Hell, when I told my mother I was working for a company called TNA, she'd say, tits and ass? What kind of pornography are you involved in?
Total Nonstop Action. And I went, that's different. It says exactly what it is. Okay, now it's time to go to work.
But the problem was, there definitely was a lot of people backstage thinking, this is doomed to failure. We'll get 1 or 2 shows out of it. This is just going to blow up in her face.
You want to talk about TNA? I got your Total Nonstop Action right here, baby.
On June 19th, 2002, Total Nonstop Action debuts live on pay-per-view, turning the Jarrett's dream into reality.
It was the first show that I'd ever been the boss, the executive producer. I knew a lot was riding on the line.
There was a manic energy backstage. Right before they're about to go on the air, the ring broke. And they weren't sure they were going to be able to put it back together. There were people running around saying, we're doomed. And oh my God, it's time to back up and go home.
The ring literally got put back together as we were coming on the air. When I think about it, it's crazy.
It's all about total nonstop action.
Things got rolling along, and you may or may not say this is a little disjointed, but that's what happens with a live show. You know, at the end of the day, everything came off the way we wanted it to.
Toby Keith has Jarrett up.
After the first show, it was a real education for my father and myself, knowing the grind and knowing that you have to keep the show going.
Jeff and Jerry are determined to make their company a destination for the best wrestling in the world.
We wanted to have the traditional heavyweights with the NWA title and wanted to have the WCW/NWA footprint. And I was a huge fan of Lucha Libre wrestling, European wrestling, Japanese wrestling. There was a crop of young, independent talent that could do things that heavyweights couldn't. And so I wanted to brand it that way. And that was the X Division.
The top rope.
Can't talk about TNA without talking about AJ Styles. He was, from the very first show, he was the guy pegged to be the future, and AJ was super talented.
Though TNA gets off to a promising start, questions remain about its staying power.
You have to be a survivor in professional wrestling. There's too many things that try to go against you to try to cut through a business.
I knew that when TNA first started that it wasn't going to be a competition to the WWE, but it was going to be an alternative. And there's money to be made and glory to be had in that.
Determined to make TNA a true competitor, Jeff brings in a polarizing figure from his past. In time, the move will spark a conflict pitting father against son.
Jeff said to me, Vince, I need you to write my TV. It was a no-brainer, and I went to work for Jeff.
Next week, it's a new day.
I knew that we weren't going to ever succeed if we didn't try different things.
My vision for TNA was to be just anything goes. There are no rules. This was gonna basically be an adult version of Glow.
Gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
With just crazy, crazy characters. Whatever we wanted to do, nothing like the WWE.
The Johnsons!
There was a tag team called the Johnsons, which were supposed to be a pair of penises that wrestled.
Operation Sex begins now. Go do your business.
I was working in WWE at the time, and Vince McMahon was curious. We all were. And we watched a couple of shows, and there was a scene with a that was in a trash can having fun with himself.
What do you think, I'm spanking my monkey? Hey, little girl, how would you like to have a little porridge?
Those are some of the things that my dad would just want to pull his hair out. Like, it was so over the top for him that he's like, we're never going to recover from that.
I wanted to masturbate in a trash can, and Jerry Jarrett wanted to do 1970 USWA. Here we are on pay-per-view. We're supposed to be different, no holds barred. We were on two completely different pages.
I will shoot your kneecaps off. Whoa! Oh my God! I never thought I'd be happy to see that.
People want to be entertained, and there are about this many people that are entertained by guys jumping around in a ring for 40 minutes.
The existence of Vince Russo and the way he talked about professional wrestling was insulting and offensive to Jerry Jarrett on a personal level.
Been a lot of discussion, a lot of rumors about your relationship with Vince Russo.
I'm confused about the man. All I can...
Jerry Jarrett hated me from the jump. Jeff wants me to write the TV. Jerry wants to write the TV. To be in the middle of a father and a son, it was a horrible spot to be in, and I did not enjoy it.
I knew Vince would lean more into the tits and ass side of it, risque, push the envelope with that type of content. And then my dad loved action. So the yin and the yang between Russo and my father, I always thought was a healthy balance.
When I get my...
It was a very exciting time to be there, but they were always teetering on the edge of disaster.
Just as TNA's unique vision begins to take shape, a shocking development threatens the company's very existence.
We were putting all the pieces together. You have the production, you have the talent, we are almost there. And then I got the call from HealthSouth. Hey Jeff, the funding is being pulled. Okay, so it's over.
Congressional investigators have subpoenaed Richard Scrushy to testify.
Just weeks after its launch, TNA is rocked by a scandal no one could have anticipated.
Scrushy's world first began to come apart last March when one of his chief financial officers went to federal prosecutors and confessed that HealthSouth, at Scrushy's express direction, had been overstating its profits hugely for years.
I got into the office at 9:30 in the morning after a Wednesday night show, and I'll never forget it, on speakerphone, and HealthSouth said, Jeff, Richard's got bigger issues to worry about, and so we're gonna quit the funding. There was an eerie silence. What about the line of credit? It's pulled. Well, are you gonna fund last night's show? No. Okay. It made front page news, and it was a crazy time. So I knew that I had a massive amount of work in front of me with a very short time frame. There was no more money in the account, and so I started making calls.
I went out with Jeff, and he'd been drinking a little bit. Then he broke the news to me about HealthSouth. And I know that's why he was drinking. Jeff was very distraught. Jeff was very depressed.
I was going to all my vendors and contractors to let them know that, hey, my funding's been pulled, but I'm gonna go find money. But if you wanna jump off this train now, I completely understand.
One of those contractors is Dixie Carter, president of a public relations agency hired by TNA.
Dixie Carter told him he needs to have a conversation with her parents. He had no idea who her parents were and what they were worth.
Her father was the owner and chairman of Panda Energy International.
If you're like everybody else in the world, who the is Bob Carter and what is Panda Energy? Come to find out he's a multi-millionaire in Texas.
Next thing you know, me and my father were headed to Dallas to meet with Dixie's father. And so he wanted to take a look at this potential investment.
If I won the Powerball lottery for $50 billion, I would not start a pro wrestling company under any circumstances. It is a pain in the ass.
We go into our presentation, have the conversation. Bob Carter looked at me. Jeff, how much of your money do you have into this thing? And I told him, and he said, okay, we've got the private plane for y'all. We're gonna take y'all back to Nashville, but we think we can do some business here. And that was the beginning of the Carter-Jarrett relationship.
That was just an absolute gift from heaven to keep this company going. We were still in business.
In 2005, TNA secures its biggest opportunity yet, a national television deal for its flagship show on Spike TV.
By the time TNA got to Spike TV, they had a strong roster. They had great production, and they had a very loyal, rabid fan base that they could count on being there every week.
We started on a 1-hour show off Prime, so that's Saturday nights at 11 Eastern. The numbers we did were fantastic, and we were getting traction and really truly becoming an alternative to the WWE.
As Impact becomes a hit on Spike TV and TNA turns a profit, Jeff Jarrett's company continues to innovate.
With the surgence of the UFC and the Octagon, I really wanted the six-sided ring.
The six-sided ring, that was what was so unique about TNA in the early days. My name is Jeffrey Nero Hardy, and I'm a professional wrestler, and I've known Jeff Jarrett for at least 30 years. When I went to TNA for the first time, I walked with Jeff to the curtain and looked out there, and it was my first time seeing the Hexagon ring, and Jeff said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Oh, man, it looks like the future."
I wanted to give a more sports-oriented feel as opposed to entertainment-oriented.
The six-sided ring became part of TNA's identity. I'm Vila Brown, professional wrestler for over 30 years, and I was a producer/agent for TNA Wrestling. A lot of the fans had hooked on to TNA's identity, and part of that identity was the ring, was the look, was the above-the-rope wrestling technique. You know, AJ Styles diving over top rope, Christopher Daniels moonsaulting off the top of whatever, either Skipper tightrope walking on top of the cage.
But even as TNA's fortunes improve, fan criticism of its top star becomes increasingly difficult to ignore.
In case you didn't know, I am the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Is there an argument to be made that Jeff Jarrett shouldn't have held the title for 1,000+ days? Absolutely. Jeff Jarrett was not one of the favorites of the fans. They thought that somebody else should be put in that spot. But I mean, I don't think Jeff ever sat there going, hey, I'm doing this because it's for me. The last thing you want to do business-wise is put the title on somebody you can't trust.
Jeff Jarrett knew he wasn't going to walk out on himself. He wasn't going to hold himself up for more money. TNA was his baby. He had to get it started, and he had to get it to the point where it was flying on its own.
Despite the success, trouble is brewing behind the scenes. As Jerry Jarrett's clashes with the Carter family intensify, he grows disillusioned with both the company and his son.
My dad came to a point in his life that me and him were not going to be seeing eye to eye on anything by any stretch of the imagination.
The worst struggle I've ever had in my life. Emotionally and personally with Jeff, and then it just became a living hell when I had to deal with the Carters.
After 60 years of wrestling, no one was going to tell my father how to run a wrestling company. He felt his legacy was being tarnished. He was sour on the Carters, he was sour on me, he was sour on Russo, he was sour on so many things, and he became bitter. The tension built, and rightly so. The financial component of it, the Carter family, them feeling pressure. It was never outright said, but kind of implied that Panda was a little stressed, wanted to see a little daylight. And my father came to me a couple of times and he's like, son, we got to get out. This isn't going right. The Carters are not treating us right.
To get out of his contract with TNA, Jerry engineers a scandal, hoping it will get him fired.
Jerry Jarrett told me, I don't want to do this anymore. He had a connection with this Russian guy who had a big background. And instead of taking him to TNA, he was seen in the WWF office.
Picture was taken with Jerry Jarrett and the guy there in front of the WWE logo, and I'm sure that was contrived by Vince.
It's being positioned as high treason. Because you clicked on WWE.com, and the first thing you see is Jerry. You know, like I didn't see Jerry at TNA again after that.
I was surprised. My father, he knew what he was doing. Dad, I think we need to take a little break. And we hung up the phone and didn't talk for several years. I'm well aware of my character defects. I'm well aware of my upbringing and how I process things and the transactional nature that I was raised in. My mom was very transactional. My dad was very transactional. I was estranged from my mother. Now I was estranged from my father. It really hurt me.
Oh, there's Jeff's father, Jerry Jarrett.
And that's when things went from bad to worse, when my wife's breast cancer had come back a second time.
Already estranged from both parents, Jeff faces his greatest challenge yet when his wife, Jill, receives a devastating diagnosis.
I've got 3 young kids. My wife gets sick. And when it came back, and the type that it came back, I knew we were in a rough road. At that time, I had stepped out of the ring and I was trying to focus strictly on home life and business. I knew one of them had to give.
He loved her so much, and to see somebody he loves
so much dying and him being helpless to stop that.
At this point in time, we had moved the creative meetings to Jeff's house because Jill was really deep in her battle, and Jeff rightfully wanted to be close to home.
It was really hard because I hadn't seen her in a while. And the Jill I knew was so vibrant and smiling, and she was an athlete, and she was always healthy.
No, she was just an amazing person, you know, just a great girl, you know, smart and, you know, beautiful. And she was just,
I witnessed a woman fight for her life, day in and day out. And the thing that she was fighting for, I knew she loved me. She loved her parents, loved her siblings, but she loved her girls. And that's what she'd cry out at night. She didn't want to leave her girls. And I carried that with me for a lot of years. She passed, 1 o'clock in the morning. I walked down to the dock by myself to kind of gather my thoughts, and I'm standing on the dock. I got my watch on, and I look down at it, and I see May 23rd. I said, "You son of a gun." Owen Hart died on May 23rd, 1999. So I knew in some kind of crazy way, everything's gonna be all right. My mother, till the day she died, hated the wrestling business. My dad, come to this time frame, we had our estrangement. Neither one of them came to the funeral.
Jerry Jarrett was one of the great wrestling promoters of all time, but Jerry Jarrett was not a perfect person.
After Jill's passing, I was trying to survive as a father and really trying to survive as a businessman on every level. I knew that my single biggest job moving forward was going to be a provider for my 3 little girls. And so, to my detriment, just like the passing of Owen, very little grieving, I went right back to work.
Next time on Dark Side of the Ring.
There was this power play, if you will, orchestrated by Dixie Carter, who I'd hired. She wanted more, and she wanted more of the credit.
At some point, it came out that Jeff had been romantically involved with Kurt Angle's wife, Karen.
And a lot of the boys, they turn the nose up at it. It's just not what you do.
This was Dixie's excuse to put Jeff to the side once and for all.
This is a real chess move by Dixie. She manipulated all of them, every step of the way.
She was going to try anything to get him out. And she finally got her wish.
At that point, I knew that my time had come to an end at TNA. They say that fame changes folks. The real reality is fame doesn't change folks, it reveals folks.
Dark Side of the Ring is back.
You're not supposed to hang people on television.
This is not fake. They just beat the shit out of each other.
It is Dark Side of the Ring, after all.
7 new stories with a can't-miss 3-hour premiere. Our biggest story yet.
In pro wrestling, people get drunk with power.
Jeff had all the backstabbers backstabbing the backstabbers.
Somebody's gonna die tonight. Dark Side of the Ring. New episode Tuesday at 9 on Vice.